agreed with her was about the best interpretation. In fact, let me pull up the PDF again. I got it.
All right. Are we live? Yep, we are live. Hey, guys. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Stone Guy 223 for the Tack Daddy After Show. Real quick, I need to get this out of the way because I'm pretty perturbed, to say the least. Apparently, Google, in all their glory, decided that now you used to be able to copy and paste a link at the top of your URL and send that out. Well, for whatever reason, they decided that now you can't copy the whole thing. You have to stop at the question mark and cut that off from the link. They didn't tell anybody, no notifications, no nothing. So it's happened to me and a bunch of people copying and pasting links that don't work. So I've been sitting here for the last 30 fucking minutes sending out shitty links that don't work to no avail. So for everybody that does live chats in the future or links through Google Plus, you have to stop at the question mark and go from the question mark back to the left. That's the only part of the link that works. If you copy and paste the whole link, it doesn't work. So it sure would have been nice for Google to fucking, put out a little.
How did you figure that shit out?
G-Webs told me. That's the only way I would have known.
And Cork told me, so it all comes from Cork.
Yeah, I'm sitting here sending.
It still goes on because the Cork is out there.
I'm sitting here sending the same fucking link, going, well, that's the link that's in my URL, so I'm here. Why isn't it? It's like, well, fuck, it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
What about when you go in and you just invite people within the actual chat itself, and you hit the plus button and you add people? Does it work? Does that work?
Well, I don't know, because.
Well, is that how you did it for me, Stone Guy?
Yeah.
Were you already in the chat and sent me the link that way? Because I'm the exception to the rule here.
I don't know, man. I mean, I did invites through. See, I've got 2 Google Pluses because, again, Google fucked you up when they made you merge your YouTube, and so I've got a Stone Guy Google Plus and a Stone Guy 223, and so I lost all of my contacts when that happened. So I invite them through 2 things. I do it through the chat, and then I actually get on my normal Google Plus, and that's the one where I actually copy and paste the link. So that's the one where I've got like 600 contacts. So that one that I sent is the shitty link. So anyway, I'm just kind of pissed off that they could have at least put a little memo out. This is the fucking computer. They could have sent you a goddamn email in Google. It is Google. Sent you an email that said, hey, from now on, do your copy and paste. Stop at the question mark. Ryan, let's see. Hey, I can't hear anyone talking. Can you?
Kelly's saying that when she was on, she could see everybody. She couldn't hear anything. So I don't know if that's a mic thing, if she needs to check her settings on her.
I don't know. Now Ryan's saying, well, let's check gun channels. Anybody in gun channels, can you hear us broadcasting?
G-Webs is good. Yeah, I'm good here as well. I can hear everything. Yankee, are you still a moron? Check, check.
Oh, you know damn well he didn't hear you if that didn't get a response.
Yeah, right, exactly. Either that he's writing down 3 different options of what to say smart ass back to me, and then he's going to evaluate the 3 and pick the best one. So that could take a minute. It'll be something about being small.
Maybe Google's just all jacked up tonight. I don't know what it is, man, but this is pretty irritating considering that.
We're getting feedback that everybody can hear you.
Okay, everybody's good? All right. All right, well, anyway, now that little bitch session's over.
All right, what did I miss? What's the topic?
Well, hold on. Tack Daddy had a question for you.
No, I just want to make sure you were awesome tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, Tack, don't puss out.
He has no option.
See.
Okay, what's the topic?
Well, first off,
That topic sucks. Let's talk about something else.
we brought it up a little bit on Tack Daddy show, was the fact that everybody was kind of,
No one's going to know what happened on Tack Daddy show. Nobody watches that shit.
Motherfucker, I made you famous this week with your back and forth with Robertson last week. Tell me.
With who?
Yeah, exactly.
he doesn't even know who he argued with. So everybody's celebrating the M855 ban, or lack of the ban. The ATF kind of.
I don't understand the celebration for, yay, they didn't fuck us yet. I don't understand.
Well, and that's the thing. They're saying that, but then Tack Daddy read an article, and I think Mateo here was just looking up some information on it, and I don't know anything about it, so I'll let whoever jump in and talk about what you guys found out, which is kind of a backdoor move for future, legislation.
Well, I say let Tack Daddy go since he's the one with the article.
Oh, I don't have it up anymore, but the Hill had it on there, and it was saying that 9-0 judges ruled that they don't have to go through the process of opening it up for public opinion. They can literally just do what they need to do, as long as when it was originally written, it wasn't open up to public opinion before they wrote it. That's the way we read it, the short version of it.
Yeah.
Which means that huge victory this week with everyone who called in and did this and wrote that and participated in this and the 80,000 that and everything. It's great for now, but guess what? On Monday they said it's not going to matter next time what you say.
Yeah. I pulled up the PDF on the decision, and that's what they're talking about. They do go in there. They do cover that if it wasn't originally a comment period, then they don't have to do it. But then they also go in and they talk about the full force and effect of the law versus the interpretation. And the interpretation does not require a notice and comment process. So that's what the problem is. The whole M855 comes down to, is it interpretation? And after a couple readings, I understand how they came to the decision. It's like same thing that goes on with anybody who's in the trades and covered by codes. There's no question and comment period before they change the codes.
So do you agree that next time, if they push something through, we're not going to even have a chance to comment on it?
Yeah, I went ahead and I've said on a couple people's channels, I think right now what we need to be doing is we need to contact all of our Congress critters and tell them, these bills that you've put in to go ahead and ensure the exemption, do it. Because they're going to come back around and do this, and then they don't have to tell us.
Well, before this statement was released or this judgment was passed, are they required to, not necessarily that our opinion would make a difference, but are they required to, make it public, like public knowledge, like when they're doing
according to the ruling, they've never been required to.
Yeah, well, there was a question.
The scope of the law that applies to government actions does not, according to the Supreme Court, and never has applied to interpretations of the law. That's what this judgment was about. They're saying, no, when you're just making an interpretation of an already existing law, you don't have to make public statement. So basically, this is just them saying, nope, they've never had to, and if they've done it in the past, that's great, but they didn't.
Well, that's not exactly true, Yankee. What was basically the problem came down to, it was a court case, veterans something or other, and under that, the decision basically said there had to be a comment period. But when the Supreme Court, when they went back in, they overruled the lower court rulings.
That's what I'm saying. They're saying, no, that's not true, that the judge that made that judgment was in error, that the law does not say that, and therefore the
right. Well, what I'm getting at is that's the reason why ATF did what they did. Until this ruling came down, they had to go ahead and do what they did because they would have been open to judicial review for what could have been argued as a violation of the APA.
Well, they didn't actually have to because there was a stay on that order until the Supreme Court case was heard. But they did it anyway just to cover their bases.
Well, if the order would have went not the way that it did, they would have been open to judicial review. So, yeah, they did kind of have to do it. It's cover your ass.
Well, they had to do it to cover their ass, but they wouldn't, as long as there was a stay on the order, they don't have to abide by it until it's decided by the Supreme Court. That's why stays are issued. A stay is issued to say, okay, a judge has said this, but until a higher judge confirms it, it's not enforceable.
So realistically, even let me phrase it like this. Realistically, even if we had way more people than we did, I think we had 80,000 comments. We had 200 and something senators write in. Even if we had double that or triple that, if they had not decided to recant or table their agenda or their initiative or not go forward with it, if they wanted to ban it, what we said wouldn't have made a difference regardless. Like I guess what I'm trying to say is we don't really have a vote that counts really. It's more or less just kind of humoring us in a sense. Does that make sense? I mean, am I correct in that? It's like it's kind of a
Are you saying in lieu of this, they could have went ahead and banned it, and we would have went through and did all this, and it would have just been
right?
For
Like
naught?
it's right, like it's just a feel good. It just kind of makes us feel good and it's kind of a good faith for them to say, all right, well, we want to hear your concerns, we want to hear what you guys feel about it, but in all actuality, we're going to do what we want to do anyway. And your opinion really doesn't.
Well, look at NFA Trust. I mean, look at the NFA Trust. Does anyone even update it on it? The same thing happened to that. In the comment period, they got so many negative comments that they shelved it. It hasn't been brought up since. So.
Well, I think in this instance it's different.
Did you say the Sega 12 with drum mag?
What's that?
I didn't hear you. Did you say the Sega 12 with the drum
mag? No,
mag?
NFA Trust.
Oh, okay, well, I guess then that's another one. Yeah, the Sega 12 with the drum mag, that was the same thing. They got a bunch of feedback from that, and they did not pursue it. They didn't make a big deal about it, like this one. It wasn't brought up quite as big a deal, but that was the second one I can think of recently.
So it's a situation of public opinion is swaying or tugging at the heartstrings, if you will, of whoever is.
No, these are coward bureaucrats who think they can just anonymously push people around, and when there's any resistance at all, they cower.
Yeah, I think this is a perfect example of the threat that was issued after the gun control legislation failed, when Obama stood there and said he was ashamed of us all for not doing what needs to be done, and he was going to act with the pen. And this was him acting with the pen, through an agency, but nevertheless.
Well, that was always my contention. Is this is no more than him being butthurt and trying to do whatever he can to show us, that old "I'll show you guys."
To say a president's butthurt sounds so weird.
Yeah, but I think Chocolate Jesus exhibits that too often.
It's it's redundant for people that watch all these chats because I've said that.
I think the term "Chocolate Jesus" is a little disrespectful. I'd rather see a little more respect for the president of the office, of the President of the United States while I'm in the chat.
I respect his position, but I don't respect him as a person.
That's exactly how I feel.
Well, I got no problems with him as a person. Even I don't like his politics, but I also respect the office, and I would never slander the office while I was in a public place.
No one cares. Let's move on.
So that'll be interesting to see how this plays out in future future decisions, I guess, or future legislation, whether or not we hear about something. Because is it all supposed to be like transparent? Are we supposed to? Does it have to be public knowledge? Or any referendum that's up for a vote or up for reinterpretation, are they required to I guess
No,
previous to
not
that, they
anymore.
were saying they're not required now to let us know anything. So it might be 6 months from now, all of a sudden, and just using this as a hypothetical, let's say this dies down. Well, 6 months from now, we get a letter or posting that says M855 is now banned, and we
Well, they
didn't.
can. I mean, they can do that. They could technically do that this time. They could have implemented the ban pending the notification. They could have said it's hereby banned until, you know, until we verify whether this is going through or not. They could have done that. That's within their power. So they could still do it again. We're in no worse really a position than we were before. They could still do it.
I think the difference is they want all the hoopla to die down, and they want the bills to die because everybody backs off.
That's what I said last night. The reason that they backed off is only because a majority of senators and congressmen said, we will fight you on this, and we will strip you of what powers you think you have that you don't. And that's the only reason they backed off.
Yeah, I fully agree.
Because they had way too much to lose. They did not want it clarified what they can and can't do. As long as it's murky, it's better for them.
Well, I think the letter that they released on their website, I believe it's the last line, pretty much tells you. It's a line about we'll come back later and you know after we've reviewed what we can do.
Well, that's pretty much that's a rubber stamp statement on most of their stuff. So I'm not too worried about that. But like I say, as long as the situation stays the same as it is right now, that a congressional exemption exists, they won't move on this again. They might try to get that congressional exemption gotten rid of, but as long as it exists and it will put them in direct conflict with Congress, they won't move on this again. Because it wasn't us that backed them off. It was the fact that they were in direct head-to-head with Congress over that exemption, and they knew they couldn't win that. So as long as that exemption exists, they won't do this again. Not this particular thing. They'll try other stuff, but they won't do this particular one. Because this, unfortunately, this ammo for them had a specific exemption written for it.
Well, they basically tried to find any little nook and cranny they could find to throw up magical crap. Says, oh, you can't have this anymore. Because they know they can't get any more laws passed, regardless, because the GOP holds the majority of both houses.
I think they stepped before they looked, and then they went, aha, we're going to ban this. And then they went, oh, crap, you mean there's an exemption specifically for this? And then they found themselves in water over their heads, and they had to back out.
Well, you know, barring that ATF actually knows what it's doing, you know, this isn't exactly a surprise. They would do that.
Well, I don't think they know what they're doing at all. If you've ever talked to people at the ATF, it's not a well-oiled machine.
No, it's not.
I had them lose a check for a silencer.
Oh man.
And no one could ever figure out what happened.
Man, that sucks. Was it the 200 variety or the $5 variety?
200, and people didn't know whose job it was to do what. When they were like, "Well, I'm not sure whose job it is to do this, and I'm not sure who would have done that," and no one knew what anyone else was doing.
That's fantastic.
This is the same organization that issued somebody a tax stamp to build their own machine gun. Realized they messed up, sent an agent down to their home. It's like, well, here's a denial letter, and if you built the gun, please give me the gun.
Well, that's in court right now, I believe.
Yeah, you're talking about the Hollis case in Texas?
Yes, sir. That's where I'm from, and we're watching that very carefully because that opens up a whole bunch of can of worms for them if they get that through.
Why do you think I'm starting my own trust?
Was this done on the trust, or was this like just a paperwork mistake or something?
Through a trust.
Yeah, paperwork mistake and trust.
Is there any status on it?
I believe they're petitioning to the court. They just sent a reply to the ATF, and the ATF has denied the reply. So it's basically in a holding pattern until a judge decides what to do with it next.
Yeah, they're still filing initial motions.
So this will probably take a couple years if they're really wanting to go through with it.
I suspect they'll be selling a lot of trusts if it comes out in a good way.
Well, God forbid Silencer Co. and who's the other guys that just came out with the NFA trust or something like that for like $130.
Just don't abandon us.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm here. What was the question?
I said, who are the two companies that came out with like a specified NFA trust that they'll sell through your use of the company? It's like Silencer Co. and somebody else, like two silencer companies.
What was it? AAC, Advanced Armament? I think it was Advanced Armament.
But yeah, I figure once people realize, oh, we can have all these cool things, I think the market will definitely become bigger than what it is already.
Yeah, I think the I don't know. It's hard to. I'm all in favor of the trust, and there's some people that say there's a lot of negatives to a trust, but I think if you're going to have class 3 items, a trust is the only way to go.
The only way a trust is really negative is if you have intricate business dealings and you don't want to be audited, because having a trust does increase your chances of being audited by 1,000-fold.
Well, I think the best thing about it is you can bypass your Clio if they're the type to deny you.
You're talking about like your local sheriff or local
Yeah.
law enforcement signing off on your.
Because I know in a couple counties around me, they won't sign off. They just don't believe in it. And it's usually a police chief, not the sheriff.
Well, how does it work exactly? Doesn't the sheriff outrank the police chief of the municipality or like the county?
It's supposed by law. It's supposed to, at least where I'm at. I can't speak about every jurisdiction across the nation, but where I'm at, the sheriff is supposed to outrank the police chief, but that's not the way they act.
Absolutely, your sheriff supersedes your police because it's an elected position.
Yeah, it's like the highest elected official in the land of the county.
Highest elected law enforcement official, yeah.
Right, elected, but then, and as the hierarchy goes, you've got state patrol has jurisdiction over county sheriff, and then oddly enough, your game wardens have really more authority than anybody. Your DNR, which I thought was odd, but yeah.
Is that a state or a federal thing? I've never heard that before.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's a federal, the DNR or your what they call DNR agents here, or game wardens. I think that's a federal
game
thing.
Wardens,
yeah,
fish
I think
and
that's
game.
federal. Yeah.
Yeah, because in Texas we just have game wardens, and they have statewide powers. They're just like state troopers. They have the same powers, except for they mostly their focus is generally on licenses and hunting and fishing and whatnot.
Yeah, I think the only exception around all that is Kentucky still has the constables, and they still hold quite a bit of power.
That's old school right there. That has to do with like being it was a Commonwealth, right?
Yep, it's where the term cop comes from, constable on patrol.
Gotcha. All right, I think we should go to the next subject.
Yeah, what other political stuff did you want to get into, Tack? Was there anything you didn't touch on that we were running out of time on the show? Any other topics that you were wanting to bring up?
Nah, I was going to start a fire and start talking about how a bunch of YouTube channels got in a fight last week, but we'll just forget about that for now.
Really? Ah, God. Drama.
Now, we'll switch gears here because pre-chat we were talking about Liberty Ammo, or Liberty Defense Ammo Company. Mateo, fill us in on that for people that aren't aware.
Yeah, I was looking online, and I ran across a lawsuit that apparently Liberty sued the Army and won for copy or patent infringement. Apparently, the new M855A1 infringes upon their bullet design that was submitted back in '05. So now the Army has to pay 150 million and 1.4 cents per every round they produce until 2027 when the patents run out.
Ouch.
That is a shit ton of money.
Does anybody know who was actually producing the ammo for the Army? I know the Army didn't own it.
Probably ATK. They generally do the biggest amount. I can't assume anybody else that would be able to hold that amount.
Was that Lake City?
I guess they thought because they're big and powerful and they deal with the U.S. military, they can just steal other people's patents and get away with it.
Welcome to the government, boys and girls.
It's not so much the government as that would be the contractor that has the bid with the government.
Well, they're buddies and said, hey, we need this ammo, but we don't want to pay for the rights to this ammo and pay even more. Do you mind taking this bullet and taking liberties with it? I have a figure there was a couple of congressional meetings that had to happen.
Yeah, it is ATK.
I'm glad they got screwed. I'm sick of government contractors stealing shit.
Yep.
We have a guy here locally that designed, forget exactly what it was, but it was some sort of mechanical part for a hydraulic system for a hybrid engine system, and government contractor that is here in Oregon just stole his design and made millions off of it and said, screw you. And then they got protected by the government because they were doing so much business with the government.
A great racket, isn't it?
Nothing like taking the time to fill out a patent.
Like that poor guy that sold Keurig coffee makers for $50,000 a few years ago. Now he's bitching.
Well, hell, did you hear the Keurigs got recalled, the 2.0s or whatever, catching on fire?
Yeah, a lot of coffee pots have that problems, but we used to have an old Black & Decker had the same problem. Set our kitchen on fire. But, yeah, the guy that designed the Keurig sold the design like 10 years ago for $50,000, and then it went on to become a multi-billion-dollar company right after he sold it. So he's a little ass hurt about that.
Is that the one where it's like the concentrated coffee that you put in there and then it runs the hot water through it?
It's just a little
Right.
pod. It's just a little...
Yeah.
He was on the internet bitching about, I'm sorry I invented that thing because it's just creating garbage because you throw those pods away. And I'm like, my pods are biodegradable. I don't know about everybody else's.
And you don't have to go to Starbucks. It's a great thing. Thank you, sir, for your contribution.
Contribution. There you
Yeah, that big words. Yeah, them things. Yeah.
Holy shit, Stone Guy saved somebody. Look at that.
I just started drinking coffee in the last few months, so it's been a lifesaver for me because I don't have to go anywhere and buy the coffee.
Saving chats and channels, one word at a time.
Right on.
Know all about that tactic.
I just want to know what channel's got to fight. I always get left out of the biggest fight, the biggest feuds.
It was you, dipshit. What are you talking about?
Who'd I get
No, I'm not talking about him.
channel battle with?
Well, not really a channel. It was more of an intellectual jousting.
Oh, that's not a feud. That's just theater on a chat.
It's in the internal. If you didn't see that shit, go look it up.
Oh, shit. Well, let's talk about that one then.
No.
Talk about
I did not hear about that one.
About what? What are we looking at? Is there something on the side?
Internal side chat. What's the new Canic thing?
I don't know who that is. What's that first abbreviation stand for?
Hold on.
Do 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 do.
If you don't know who that is, then just look it up.
I have to look it up because I don't know who that is. I know the second one, of course, but I don't know the first one.
Wow. Yeah, damn.
I'd love to talk about it. It's just not my place.
Yeah, we'll look it up.
Talk about Shockwave in the desert. That's coming up soon.
Let's talk about, do you think they're going to release the single stack 9 at NRA? Or do you think there is a single stack 9 and Glock's just fucking with us?
I don't really care. I prefer double stack, so the single stack 9 is kind of eh.
I think it's so late.
Yeah, they kind of missed that boat. They're like, when they parade up the 42, it was like, why? It's a millimeter. Make it a 9 millimeter, people.
Yeah, by the time the 42 came out, I'd already decided on a car.
I don't know who that first one is, but their whole channel is a fucking commercial. The first page you go to is, here's the products I endorse.
Right.
So I don't see where they could get in a feud with anybody. Seems like they would tread lightly.
I'll explain it some other time. Bunch of bitches.
That's like some people the other day were someone put a comment on my channel yesterday and said something about my channel and how they don't like the big gun channels because they're all sellouts. And I'm like, well, what constitutes being a sellout? Does being successful at what you do constitute being a sellout? If someone opens a gun shop, are they a sellout? If someone runs a gun magazine, are they a sellout? I said, you're only a sellout if you pretend to be something you're not. Like if you pretend to be a Consumer Reports when you're really a Guns and Ammo. But if you let people know, hey, I'm Guns and Ammo, that's not selling out. That's running a business. And I don't understand why people begrudge people being successful or making a living.
I think it's because it's like the whole people who get butthurt about the like music, when people to go indie and they they get big and they're like, oh, how could you? I don't think it's one of those things.
People get mad about, well, they're telling people things. I'm like, be an educated consumer. Realize when something's a commercial. Do you believe every commercial you see on fucking television, or do you realize, hey, someone paid to make that commercial, someone paid to air that commercial, and take that with a grain of salt?
I'll have those conversations with people who create content and understand media. I won't have it with people who don't understand the internet. It doesn't make sense. And those are the people that leave those comments.
Yeah. So I'm like, there's nothing wrong with running a business, be it on the internet or brick and mortar.
I want everyone at the end of the day to go to TechDaddy.com and buy shit.
There you go. Sell.
I have not ever hidden that. Every single video in the links has my link to my website.
I just want everybody to go to every one of Tack Daddy's video, or at least go to his channel page and leave in his comment section to tell him to get back in the fucking tree and make the cookies and shut his mouth.
See, this motherfucker. You're lucky I'm sitting here enjoying this almond.
Speaking of which, I want some cookies.
Damn it. Now, see, you're going to sidetrack us all the cookie chat.
Oh, I'd love to challenge
almond, you're nibbling on it like a munchkin.
I've got trefoils in the kitchen because the Girl Scouts mugged us the other day.
You bring your Chopperino, I'll bring my Glock. We'll see who shoots better.
Uh-oh. That's a challenge right there.
Just set the target 6 feet off the ground, you'll never hit it.
Oh.
Again,
Them's just fighting words.
easy talk.
Oh, damn. All right, so what about this?
I spend more time at the range than you do in front of your green screen. Badoom.
No.
You have no idea how much I even bought a Jeep just this week just so I can go to the range more often.
Well, that does help. Having transportation does help get to the range.
I had a car, but to go to our not public shooting range, but like BLM land and stuff that's private, that's public land that you can shoot on, you got to cross treacherous roads in this area, and my Mazda could only make it out if it had been good weather for at least 2 weeks, and everything was compacted. So you're
saying it's 4x4 only kind of vehicle.
Yeah, so I had to go buy a Jeep just to get up there. It was a good enough excuse.
I mean, if you're going to have an excuse to buy a Jeep, I mean, that's a pretty good excuse.
I need to get to the range as much as Tack Daddy's a good excuse to buy a fucking Jeep.
Oh, I don't need to go to the range as much as you. I'm naturally a good shot. I don't have to overcompensate for Cummins as much.
Right, Rose.
All right, children.
I say we need to have a place where we have this battle. Enough chit chat.
I'd say he and I take his shirts off right now and wrestle.
Well, wow.
No one wants to see that.
No.
Sure.
I'd leg sweep you, and then your center of gravity throw everything off, and you'd be flopping on the ground trying to figure out how the fuck to get back up. And then your arm would get taken, and then you'd tap, and then it'd be over.
Going to the ground's first thing we're going to do.
All right. Giggity.
It doesn't get tender until you get horizontal.
Wait, that's grinder, I think. That's a different. Anyways. So, back to guns.
We should set up a business, set up a sponsored event where first I make you tap and then I outshoot you.
Oh, I'd go for that. I'd go for that in a second.
Sweet.
Do you get to put on the sumo suit? Oh wait, you already have that. You already are that big.
Yeah, you say whatever you like. I'll go for it.
Sweep the leg.
I love this passive aggressive bullshit. You know, it's like
Yeah, Bob.
I mean, what would it be if we didn't have this? I'm entertained.
It could be sponsored by Hillary.
Oh.
Hillary who? Hillary Duff?
it'd be sponsored by the Keebler Company.
Yeah. Gotta make the cookies. If I win, though, you gotta wear the Keebler hat in every one of your videos for the next year.
That sounds like a challenge.
Well, you guys love each other.
I fired
All
off
right,
an email to my attorneys. They're drafting a contract as we speak.
Next topic.
Yes. All right. We'll have another show about the whole thing about the challenge. Let's move
I ain't
on.
sending no paperwork you send me. I'll end up in a reverse mortgage or something.
The only underage one in the world.
All right, Stone. What else do you have, my man?
Are we out of topics already?
Lotion. How about we talk about lotion?
Lotion.
I don't know. Summer's coming. Come on.
You actually got to moisturize.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, you guys need to go start your own chat if we're going to be talking about some moisturizing lotions.
Just talk about Suge Knight.
Yeah. Let's talk about Suge Knight.
We talked about the cops that got shot in.
Yeah, we touched on that. You know, they didn't get killed, so that was, you know, it didn't really make news.
I never heard the details of how they got shot. I mean, where they got shot, how they got shot, what they got shot with.
That's the thing. No one really knows because it was, they're saying over 100 yards away.
They're saying it was a shot I could have made that you would have no prayer at, basically. But
Oh.
I'm sorry, I'm done. My last.
They're saying over 100 yards with a pistol caliber round. Now, whether or not it was fired from a pistol or if it was like a, you know, like a Kel-Tec.
It was a high point.
sub
It was a high
2000.
point.
Yeah,
That's what it
it
was.
was a
Could
damn
have been
high
like a
point.
high-point carbine.
That's a proper hood gun. Is a high point carbine.
I have never seen anybody in the hood with a high point carbine. I've seen the
Oh,
C9.
they're out there. They're out there, my man.
I've seen the C9.
They're like for the guys who can't quite afford the AR, so they get the high point because it looks cool. That's about it.
My next door neighbor deals out of his house, and he's got a high point 45.
He deals what out of his house?
I don't ask that many questions, but when you have people coming and going all hours of the night, and they only stop by for 5 minutes, it's not hard to figure out what's going on.
If my neighbors did that, I got to drive all the way downtown if I want to get a legal drug.
Oh well. So, do we want to go conspiracy theory on the Ferguson thing, or what do we want? What do we want to
there's
do?
no conspiracy. The fact of the matter is that you got a bunch of thugs that, you know, or it was a premeditated opportunity to shoot at a cop. You know.
He's like, "There's no conspiracy. I have the answer."
Well, I mean, the thing about it is that's just it. It's not a conspiracy. It was definitely
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure some people will build some sort of conspiracy around it, but to me, it just looks like some little dickwad wanted to shoot at a police officer and thought he'd get away with it right now.
Right. Well, God forbid it's not like people weren't live streaming. I think that's where most of the video came from.
Yeah.
It's always a bad apple.
Oh.
Well, when they start to, you know, when they start a riot to be able to, you know, have the cops, you know, basically on display, standing out there for, you know, easy pickings, so to speak. It's
Well, even when there's demonstrations, most people aren't going to shoot at a police officer when they're out there on display. It takes a special kind of criminal to do that. So that guy didn't become a criminal simply because the demonstrations were going on. He just took opportunity when those demonstrations were going on.
Yep.
Do you
Well,
think
they
there'll be more? You think there'll be more attempts and more dumb stuff like that to come in that area?
No, no more than there usually are. I don't think. I don't think there's going to be
Yeah.
any rash of crazy people shooting people, just like there almost never is.
Well, I think there's going to be an increase of people getting stupid with cops across the nation. Look at
Yeah.
Madison.
Yeah, that's why I said I don't.
No, I don't think that even, because I think most people live their life with almost no police contact. So I don't think it's going to have an effect. And the people that do have a lot of police contact already don't have a lot of respect for the police. So I don't see a whole lot of change taking place. But I mean, some change needs to take place. I mean, when you look at the things that these municipalities do, how they basically feed off the poor people, that's got to change. But
Well, I knew it was. I knew the fact that after everything that went down at first, I knew it was just a matter of time before something like this kicked off.
yeah, and when you make police departments have to be self-sufficient on their funding, I mean, things like this are going to happen. I mean, what news is this to anybody? I mean, anybody that's lived in the South, if you've driven through Louisiana and you get a ticket on the way in, they tell you which booth to stop at and pay it before you leave. You know that they're funding themselves with tickets and frivolous tickets that they know you'd rather just pay the $60 fine than fight it.
But I've had that happen in the North too.
Yeah, that's a universal thing. That's just
Yeah. It's like here in Portland. They sit on the bridge over here on 205 and ticket people coming in from Vancouver, give them speeding tickets because they know that that's money coming from Washington into Oregon. So it's great revenue. It's sucking money out of Washington, bringing it into Oregon.
Yep.
And they'll give you a ticket. They'll have 6 police officers on bikes sitting on the bridge giving out tickets to people going 5 miles an hour over the speed limit for $200, and they won't have enough coverage downtown to answer 911 calls.
It's always been about money.
Yeah.
Real quick, there's what's this? Is Nick?
Who you calling
Nick.
it? Dick?
Nick. It's Nick, not Dick.
No, I said Nick.
Oh.
Nick just joined us. I don't know if you ever been in a chat before. I don't recognize the icon.
That doesn't look like a Nick. Looks like a Nicky, maybe.
Yeah. Well, if you can hear us, just chime in whenever.
Say howdy.
Or just stalk us.
Well, at least the picture's good. Yeah, it could be something horrible.
Anyway, all right, damn it, I want to talk about this Canic. Someone said there was a brand new Canic.
Canic?
Yeah, there's 2 actually.
The single action without the decocker, is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, Special Forces, the one that's already in production.
Yeah.
I think they saw your video, Yankee.
Yeah, that was the stupidest gun I'd ever seen. In fact, and it wasn't just like my opinion. It's like anybody you spoke to at SHOT Show that was a gun designer or was like, yeah, that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. But some people got real butthurt when you pointed out because they think other people are telling them what a wonderful gun it is, and I'm like, not really. If you watch the reviews, they're just showing it to you. They're not telling you how wonderful it is.
Right.
Well, it's just
It's
a
a
copy.
good shooter. It's a good shooter according to a lot of people that have actually shot it.
Doesn't matter
including
whether
myself.
it shoots
I
well
shot
or
it
not.
yesterday.
If it's mechanically and fundamentally flawed in its design, doesn't matter. It's like saying, yeah, that car drives well, but if you push that button on the dashboard, it explodes.
Yeah, or it could. It's basically the Pinto of firearms, is what it is.
Yeah, they run great, just don't back into anything or get rear-ended.
Yeah.
They'll blow up. Yeah.
So, are they going to replace the crappy, decocker design, or what are they going to do for it?
Yeah,
They're
no,
just going to say.
That's gone on the new one, isn't it? On the new single action.
On the new SF, it's gone.
Yeah.
On the version 2, which is basically the SA's grip, the decocker's still there.
That's
And
double action, single action.
the SF is nothing more than a copy of the original P99, and the SA was a copy of the P99 QA.
Which did wonderfully.
No, well, it was around for a decade.
Yeah. The same ones sitting on gun shelves. But
No, actually, it was issued to militaries and police.
what really got me, I don't know a lot of them that used the Walther.
I didn't say here in the States.
Yeah. But
That's more European gun. I mean, that's definitely.
what really got me about it was I was at the Canik booth and I was looking at the one Canik they had, and there was one they had that had a silver slide and a bronze body. And I'm like, this one is actually pretty fucking cool. I actually like this one. And of course, what's the first thing they say? Oh, well, we're not importing the bronze ones. Those won't be available in America.
Now, what have you had a chance to really put the arsenal through its paces, Yankee?
Got a few thousand rounds through it.
How do you? Because I really like the look of that gun. That's
shoots like a dream. I mean, it's a wonderful shooting gun. If you're like someone who likes the guns a little bit different, and you want a gun like it, I would recommend it highly. If it's like you just want a good shooting gun, there's other guns out there that shoot just as well. But it's
a little pricey too, isn't it?
Huh?
So that one's also a little pricey too.
The one I have is $950. So it's not a cheap gun. But I mean, when you look at you're spending $650 for a decent gun anyway regularly, or if you're someone that buys if you're someone that would go out and buy a P30 tomorrow, P30s are $900. So it's not that big of a difference for someone who would go out and buy a P30. But if you're someone that's going out and looking for like an LC9 or something, yeah, that's going to be amazingly expensive. And if you want something that's different, has rotating barrel, etc., there's other options like the PX4 Storm, etc.
What kind of bells and whistles does it have? Like, what makes it that price? Are they just kind of throwing it out to say, oh, look, this is a one-off?
Super low bore axis. It's got an amazing ergonomics. It's got the fastest reset of any gun I've ever fired. It's just a well-designed gun. It's just pricey because
new.
Because it's not a high production gun. So when you make something.
Okay, so it's limited then.
Well, it's not limited, but there's just, they're only going to sell so many, so they're not like cranking them out in 10 different factories.
Right. Where is Arsenal based out of?
I believe they're out of Italy.
Yeah, they're out of the Tangfolio factory. In fact, the company is half Tangfolio.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically a Russian design produced by Italians and sold in them everywhere.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Dimitri and Nikola something or other, the CEO of Tangfolio.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great gun. I love it. It's one of my guns that is in my do not sell pile.
Right.
I've got some I buy them, I keep them for a while, get rid of them, and then there's some guns I buy, I shoot them, and then I'm like, nope, not getting rid of this one. This is in my keep forever stack, and that is in my keep forever stack.
Right. What didn't you have? I remember you did the video on it. Like, how much elbow grease? How much time did you have to do, kind of like the finish it? Because there were some issues, like finishing issues with it, weren't there?
There were, but they weren't like the production. They weren't production issues so much. The machining was a little bit around the top, but it wasn't like a production issue. It just wasn't up to like what I like. It was basically. It was basically Smith & Wesson or Glock level finishing, and I wanted something nicer, so I did my own finishing on it. But the main thing is there was a scratch on the side, but that was from shipping from Italy to here, coming through customs, etc. So that was the reason I initiated the repairs, was to fix that big scrape that was on the side of it. And might as well fix the other stuff too. But none of that was necessary, and I'm sure most of the guns don't arrive with a big scrape on the side of them because they don't all get damaged through customs, but that one did.
Right. Well, I mean, I can imagine. The only thing is, like, if you're paying that much for it, you figure it's kind of like a SIG. It's you expect a certain quality when it comes. When you get out of the box.
Yeah, you do. But if you're like say, it's that way in everything. Like, say, if you're a big time car guy, you love custom cars. You go down and buy a $75,000 built from the ground up garage mechanic car, which is really popular doing it in England. It's not as popular here, but some people still do it. You don't expect things to be as perfect as a standard production car because it's hand built. So it's not as tight as a standard production car, but it costs a lot more because it's one-off.
Right.
And I look at guns like that too. If they're not as high production, I accept a few more flaws.
Well, do you guys think that as the gun industry as a whole, it seems like there's a lot more, especially with the AR-15, there's becoming more of a, more boutique, if you will, companies, a lot more custom shops and things of that nature. Do you think we're going to see that really take off, or do you think that the price of those are going to,
I
keep that market in check, if you will?
I think something like a Cerakote or say something to dress it up, I think would become more popular because it's a lot more easy to do. Like you don't have to hand your gun off to a gunsmith, leave it for a month or whatever to get your gun back. Because now I think you can just go buy the kits, do it at your do it in a couple days. The ease of use is a lot better. But as for like actual shops, I mean, I think it's going to be kind of where it's at. Like if you want to go spend that excess money of I want to have this one thing and only in the world, I mean I think that's pretty much going to be where it's at now.
Yeah, that's what I've been curious about. I wonder how much staying power, I guess, for lack of a better term, are these boutique shops going to continue to enjoy?
Well, I think. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say I think plenty of staying power because I don't think we're going to see any end of legislative problems. So you're going to have constantly people running out and wanting to get, and some people are going to be willing to spend more money on these boutique versions.
Mm-hmm. There will always be fools, and there will always be money.
Oh yeah, I don't know if it'll really go up all that much, boutique guns, because there's only going to be a certain percentage of gun owners that are willing to pay, the amount of 3 guns to have 1 gun.
Right.
So it's always going to be a small percentage of the population. It's never going to be the majority of people are willing to do it. So it's just like it's like sending your gun off to Wilson to get it fixed. I mean, how to get it done up? That's going to be such a small percentage of people who buy a Beretta are ever going to send it to Wilson to get it repaired.
Right.
Most people would just buy a Beretta and then buy another Beretta instead of sending that off. Yeah.
Now, my only thing is like how much I think the more guns sold will help with like aftermarket. There'll be more companies wanting to push aftermarket parts for guns. I think that's going to be a bigger boom, more so than anything else.
Well, yeah, just look at Ruger this last year. Ruger's really, they haven't really put any new firearms out, but they've done a ton of aftermarket, like magazines, trigger groups, new.
Oh yeah, like the new trigger for the Ruger 1022.
Yeah, just all sorts of add-ons or upgrades, if you will. It seems like they've really concentrated on the upgrade aspect of their firearms.
I think a lot of companies are trying to. They've already got the initial gun sold, but now it's kind of like how do they get more money out of the products they've already sold, rather than saying this is it. Now we have to go hunt for more customers to sell more products. And now it's more like, okay, well, hey, you got this. Now let's add to it.
I think they're facing the same thing like, say, the tobacco industry is facing, too. They required heavily on for every one of their customers that dies, 2 more start smoking. And I think the gun manufacturers were counting, on for every one of their customers that dies, at least 1 more 18-year-old takes up firearms. And I don't know if it's being a 1-for-1 replacement anymore like it used to be.
I think it'd be harder, but I think with stuff like video games or kind of like guys on YouTube, they're like, oh, what's this and cool, rather than just because beforehand, I mean, you basically when you learned about guns was you either learned about like Boy Scouts or you had a family that hunted. Now that's much more open to learn about it individually.
Well, I think trends is always going to drive it. I mean, look at Once Upon a Time, hanging 50 million things off of your AR was in. Now we're getting kind of down to minimalist.
Well, they realize all that shit's really heavy.
Yeah, but man, how many people do we know that has a box full of accessories because they had to have the latest, greatest, and coolest thing?
Well, also you have a big craze of people that the tactical craze went crazy. The battlefield to the bedroom craze was what I always have coined it. Over the last 5 years has become just ridiculous. Like, you need everything they need on the battlefield, which has always been the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. If you want everything they have on the battlefield, that's great. Have everything, but you don't need everything to pretend it's a need. So many people thought it was a need, and then they started realizing in their daily life, I've been carrying all this shit for a month now, and I haven't been attacked by ninjas or mullahs or anything once yet.
Well, that's disappointing.
So they stop, So that's why they end up with a box of shit. That's why my channel never does that whole tactical thing. I don't like that whole.
I think there's a segment that wants to have that pretend experience of being that, tactical badass, but without actually going through the whole enlistment process of joining the military.
No, I went through the whole enlistment process of joining the military, getting shot at, etc., and still never became a tactical badass. So I'm hopeless as far as that cause goes.
It's all right.
No matter how much stuff I buy, it's never going to happen.
I mean, you like what you like, and that's what's important,
I mean, I got tactical stuff. I got body armor. I got stuff like that, but I don't. Right. I'm telling people you need this. It's like people that say I've got a video coming up in the next week or so, if I ever get it edited, where when I open carry, people are like, I can't believe you're open carrying without a retention holster. I'm like, well, why would I carry with a retention holster? You need a retention holster if you're open carrying. I'm like, why? Because of all the people that are getting their guns stolen when they, I'm like, yeah, I know everyone always has a story about how their uncle's best friend's neighbor got their gun taken from them and shot when they were open carrying. But when you really research it, it's like it never happened to any person. It always happened to someone they knew, and you can never find any verification through police records or anything like that.
It's pretty minute. It's very minute.
I'm sure it's happened because everything that can happen pretty much has happened.
Right.
But to pretend if you're someone that says you have to have a retention holster to open carry, I will only pay attention to you if you're wearing a hard hat and a jock, because you are much more likely to get hit in the head by something in your everyday life and injured than you are to have your gun stolen and be shot with it. And you're probably mathematically, statistically on the same level of having a transvestite midget hooker bite your balls off as you are having
yeah, you went there.
Also a helmet and a jockstrap and a cup at all times too.
I think more people need a helmet nowadays than anything else, just because they're liable to knock themselves out because they're looking at their fucking phones.
I'll agree with that.
It's the need word that gets to me. Whenever I hear a presenter say, you need to have this, I'm like, what, bye?
No. Yes. You need to have underwear and deodorant. That I would agree with.
Yeah, deodorant.
Hey, real quick, we had Troy join us.
Hi, Troy.
From Gun Channels. You're muted. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Oh, right on. What's your channel name?
I really don't have one right now, as far as YouTube goes, but just Troy Moisino, as far as all this is.
As far as I'm concerned, they're not a real person if they don't have a channel.
That's right. You don't exist.
Incognito.
Well, on YouTube, it's the same thing, Troy Moisino, but I'm not posting any videos or anything quite yet.
Right on. So you just on Gun Channels, though? Join us on Gun Channels?
Yeah. I've been watching you guys for a little while, mainly on, Matt's channel, listening to you guys. I got on Quark's chat last night.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Kind of new to the deal, so I figured I'd jump on in and, give my 2 cents on a few things.
Yeah, right on, man. Appreciate hopping on.
That almost happened to me last night, too. Someone sent me a link, and I actually clicked on it, and I almost clicked through, but I just happened to look and see who's in it first, and it was just Bob and Quark, and I'm like, ooh, that was a close one.
Yeah, that's dodging a bullet there.
Yeah, we got into reloading for a while, and I don't know much about that, so it was kind of a quiet chat for me.
Absolutely. We'll just jump in if you want to add something.
You got it, brother. Thank you.
Well, I since you're kind of the new guy, how long have you been to the guns? What's your EDC? That's the two things I generally care about.
EDC right now. I just got my concealed carry. I'm in California.
Oh, so wow.
10-round Glock 19, and I'm going down in about 3 weeks once I get the holster and everything in, and I'm going to add my PX4 Storm onto it.
Right on.
Yeah, I mean, I've been into it since I was probably about 15. I'm 30 now, so good while.
So you're not a newbie then. That's all good.
Damn.
Yeah. I came from Mississippi. I moved out here just to kind of make some more money. So
How'd that work out?
it worked out all right. I mean, I work private security,
No, okay.
and I was making about about $12-13 out there, and out here I'm making 22. So.
What part of Mississippi did you come from?
By Hellia. It's out by Olive Branch.
Oh, okay. I'm in Iuka all the time.
Oh, right on. I like it out there, man.
Yeah, not too far from like Corinth.
You say Torrance?
Corinth.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Corinth.
Corinth.
You gotta say it right. Corinth. Yeah, you gotta say it right. Corinth.
Oh man, that's too
up on the Tennessee line.
I actually lived in Carterville for a little while. It's a little town outside of Memphis by Germantown.
It's a shithole. All of Mississippi's a shithole.
Oh yeah. It is.
Just got land and a little bit of freedom out there, man. That's the good thing about it.
I go back every year and I'm like, wow, this is a shithole. Just big.
Makes you feel better about yourself, man.
Oh. Well, what else? What else we got to talk about?
Any new guns coming out that are coming from the NRA, or have we touched on that, or?
Well, there's a speculation of this new Glock, but I just don't.
But in speculation, they've already advertised the new Glock. The speculation is what it is.
Well, yeah, but that's just it. They're kind of showing you silhouettes of the. They haven't really showed you the whole gun yet. They're just showing you.
Looks awfully far forward on it, so it's got to be a slim 9mm for the chamber to be that far forward.
Yeah.
Well, the next question is, will we care? I think we touched on that a little bit too.
The only things that make a Glock special or make it good are the combination of reliability, simplicity, and capacity.
Exactly.
One of those three things out of the mix, it is now a third-rate gun.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's more not necessarily, what's that word? Just a novelty at this point. People that collect Glocks are just going to buy it because it's a new Glock, so they got to get it.
Because we all know what a wonderful gun the Glock 36 is.
Oh, that's a piece. Isn't that the one you bought and sold 10 times?
No, that's 29. But the Glock 36 is the single stack 45, and it's an unreliable, poor ergonomics piece of crap because it's just not. And even they're reliable more so nowadays. When they first came out, they weren't. But still, you take away the capacity, and you've lost. Glock is not, you got to have two of the three. It has to have all three of those things. It has to have its Glock reliability, it has to have its Glock simplicity, and it's got to have its Glock capacity. If you remove, like I say, any one of the three, you ruin the gun.
Yep, I totally agree, because it's kind of like there are better other options out there if it doesn't have all of them.
Yep, once it goes down to single stack, you're like, oh, well, now there's like 15 guns better than you in the same price category.
Yep. Oh, well. Well, are there any guns that we want that are going to come out or that are out now?
I don't want anything new to come out right now because I can't afford anything new. So.
Fair enough.
That Desert Eagle broke me, so I'm like broke.
Yeah, that's expensive. I still have the M1A is on my bucket list for sure. That's
I came back from SHOT Show wanting two things. Well, three, but one of them I haven't really had available yet. I came back wanting the Taurus Curve, which I know that's crazy, but I still want one.
Really?
Why?
do you want that thing?
I just want to try it out. And I came back definitely wanting a Tavor and the stainless steel Desert Eagle. And in the first 2 weeks back, I bought a Tavor and a stainless steel Desert Eagle. So now my budget for guns is shot for like a year.
Right.
I thought you wanted an AUG, Yankee.
What AUG?
You got it.
Did I say Tavor? I meant AUG.
Yeah, well, you got the AUG.
Yeah, the AUG I got. Tavor is on my list now. I meant to say the AUG. The Tavor is what I'm looking at now.
I
got
like
the
the Tavor.
Is the new AUG compatible?
He doesn't have.
Well, see, I thought about the Tavor, but I shot a friend of mine several times, and I just don't like the balance on it that well.
Is it front heavy?
I just do not like the Tavor either.
It is not front heavy.
I like the speed of barrel change on the AUG.
Oh, yeah.
I'd rather have an AUG for sure. I tell you what I really want is that damn Scar Heavy. That Scar Heavy is a sweet shooting rifle.
Oh, yeah, that's expensive.
Yeah.
Hey, Yankee.
$3,700.
See, I got the AUG with the I got the NATO model, which I know a lot of people don't like the NATO model, but I got it just simply so I can use my AR mags, and it's worked perfectly. So
I was just trying to ask you that because I know MTech, theirs works now with NATO mags.
The only thing I'm having, and it's still happening, I thought it wouldn't happen like after the first, I thought maybe, well, I'll put a couple hundred rounds to it and it'll stop. But I'll show you here the one thing that's happening with mine. Get out safe here.
I feel like we should have video of him walking across because it would be funny.
I'm going. The NATO AUG does not have last round holdback.
That's annoying as shit. How much did you pay for that?
But I have last round holdback. The bolt holding open on the last round every time, and I'm like, it's not supposed to be doing that.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, I mean, it doesn't. I'm not a big fan of bolt hold opens, but it doesn't bother me. But I'm just like, why is it doing it? Because as you can see, it's locking open with the mag in. Take the mag out, it releases, but with the mag in, it holds back.
What kind of mags are you using?
I've used several different times. This is a P mag here.
Okay. Well, I mean, it might be using part of the mag, and it just, maybe they're using a different bolt system to where it has that, it's not like a normal AUG where they just, they modified it to where it'll do that.
They're supposed to take the little piece that holds it open is supposed to be shorter on this one. I haven't looked at it, but it looks like it's shorter, but.
Yeah, have you fully disassembled it?
No, I don't know what length it's supposed to be, is the thing. So, I realize real fast taking it apart and looking at it doesn't tell me anything unless I know what length it's supposed to be.
I got
you got the new Yank?
Huh?
You got that new?
Yeah, I bought it brand new, so.
Oh.
Have you called the AUG guys to see what it is?
I haven't.
Because I'm sure they would probably know more about the gun than you would. Usually. That's the hope, anyways.
Trying to see. Here's the magazines they sent me, which I've never used. You can see if it holds back on it. It holds back on those, too. It holds back.
All right.
They sent me with it, too. So.
Then I'd bet you it's probably a modified bolt, then.
Yeah, I don't mind it, but...
Yeah.
But I tell you, I like the AUG much better than the Tavor, because with the AUG, all the weight's right here.
Right.
Hands. With a Tavor, it wants to do this on me.
Yeah, well, I've seen that. It definitely is ass end heavy for that Tavor. That's like, it's okay, but what I want the Desert Tech bullpup. That thing looks sweet as hell.
Yeah, well, I have to actually.
Yeah, in which 308?
Yeah.
That's that new one that's coming out, right?
Yeah, that's supposed to be coming out this month supposedly, but I'll hold my breath on that.
What I love is all the people that when I was buying the Tavor came out and said, you got to wait for the Desert Tech. It's the best one. I mean, like, you mean that one you've never seen or touched? Or the best one?
Does the Desert Tech still have that 10-pound trigger on it, though?
That's the Tavor, I believe. I don't know if the Desert Tech, because they haven't come out with the production model yet. That's not even until, like what Troy said, it's not to the end of the year.
And the people who bitch about
Yankee, there's a link in the internal, the bullpup forum. They have a section on odds. If they usually have schematics and blowouts and and lots of information.
Yeah, I'm just lazy to look it up.
Well, it's there. Let's mark it and do it at your leisure. All right, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, stop interrupting us. How dare you?
Anyways,
but yeah, it's on YouTube. I only have 291 subs, so I don't count.
Exactly.
That's right. You are irrelevant, sir. Back in your hole.
Stone Guy doesn't count either. We let him in here.
Well, Stone Guy sent me an invitation. Sorry,
so somebody that doesn't count sent you an invitation to somebody that doesn't count.
Yeah, but I have a Tavor.
It was the Equal Misery Coalition. Equal Misery Coalition. That's what it is.
Don't forget to insult Hawaii in general.
I like Hawaii. I just can't live there.
Yep, I agree.
Not for the gun laws. I couldn't even live there if the gun laws were good. It's like there are parts of California that I'm like, especially Northern California. I'm like, well, if the gun laws were better, I'd live there. I'd move there in a minute. Hawaii, I can't live there. Even if it had great gun laws, I could not live in Hawaii because every time I'm there, claustrophobia sets in on me so bad on about the third day. When you hit all sides of the island when you're driving around in like an hour and you're like, fuck, this is as far as I can ever go, it just hits me hard, the claustrophobia.
Yeah, that will fuck with you a little bit. Anyways, back to the desert text before we got off. I think the 308, I think it's supposed to come out in like 2 or 3 other calibers as well.
Yeah, if it came out in the 308, I wouldn't mind having one.
I'm surprised you didn't look at it.
If it turns out to be good, I mean, they could turn into the biggest piece of crap anyone ever shot, you know. So
right. Well, they're on their, I believe, the 3rd or 4th gen right now of what they had showing at SHOT Show.
Which tells you
which isn't bad. At least that means they're evolving before they go to production. So I mean, if they need to, they can take more time to get out a good product, because they're kind of a small shop, so they do, they don't do the big numbers as some of these other guys can, so they have more time to put into their R&D.
I wish I was more into. I wish I was more into these type of things where I could get them to send me stuff so I could try them before I bought them, but I'm not big enough to do that.
Well, I mean, I'm surprised. They probably will be at NRA if you're going. No, see if they have a contact,
I'm not going to NRA. I see enough conservative middle-aged white guys in my life. Group of them at one time.
Is that all it is there?
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
I went to one time, and it was basically a bunch of guys in a bunch of 40 to 55-year-old men. Now, I know some people are going, oh, it's not what it's like. Well, here's my personal experience when I was there. There was a bunch of 40 to 60-year-old white guys in corduroy blazers.
Oh, they should have it in Vegas then all the time, because you can always go out and get, places in Vegas without, you trip over them, basically.
What the hell was that?
That sounds like somebody's phone. First rule of Hangout, turn off your fucking phone.
Oh, I never turn mine off. It's always like saying shit in the background.
Okay. Never mind.
Like, you people are not important enough for me to miss a text message.
We appreciate that. That's great. Well. Well, since we have interesting, you brought up the old fat white guy issue.
And there's nothing wrong with being an old fat white guy. There's a lot of us.
Oh, no doubt. I'm just saying it's kind of like, obviously we're becoming a much more a blended society where it's not just the white guys running stuff anymore. What do you guys see as the future,
I'll tell you what I see a lot of at the gun range as the future. I see two things at the gun range that encourage me. I see a lot of women and Hispanics at the gun range lately. 10 years ago, I never saw as many Hispanics or women at the range as I do now.
Yeah, I was at the range today. It was almost nothing but women.
Yeah. And a lot of Hispanics. And I'm not talking gangbangers. I'm talking middle-class Hispanic men, 21 to 40 years old, just at the range. They come in groups, though. They do that, I notice. I go shooting alone, usually. I mean, I prefer to go alone when I go shooting. To me, shooting is something
Well, they only have one truck, so they got to pile all in now. Come on now.
No, they'll show up in like groups, like 6 cars, but they all come they make it an event. They go out as.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, they'll bring grandma and the kids and everyone, and we'll be sitting there in like folding chairs while they're shooting.
Well, they try to do everything because I mean, especially in the Hispanic community, that's such a family outing type of environment for them that they will do everything with the family.
Yeah,
that's ingrained in them. So that makes total sense.
It's fine with me, but I go shooting and get away from my family.
I wish we had a range. We don't even have one.
In Hawaii?
Yeah, Well, on the Big Island, we just have to go up to a place on a hill where everybody goes shooting. It's not like there's
That's
no range up there.
surprising.
Yeah, Big Island. We're trying to get one, and not far from where I live too. But some of the resorts are putting up a fuss.
I mean, I realize it's like pulling fucking teeth to get a gun in Hawaii, but I mean, I would assume like even the police have to have a range to shoot at.
Yeah, they do. They don't have a range to shoot at. They don't have a range to shoot at. They have to go up to the same place we do in practice. Up on the national park is just a flat, space with some land for about. You can only shoot maximum 150 yards max.
Right. That's some odd shit out there.
Yeah, we're trying to get a range. I mean, but they've done some tests and stuff, but they got to get it all approved, and the resorts are picking up the fuss. So, if they do, it'll be a long range one, and I can get into Lapua next year maybe if I'm lucky and save my money. So,
right.
We'll see.
Okay. So now, my question thing is, with all the women coming to the range, how is their how are they dealing with firearms, versus, how we guys usually do, we're like, we do have fun.
I bet. I gotta tell you how it is here, man. It's like, people will flag everybody else, and it's just, you gotta, like, raise a fuss, just, somebody.
Yeah, the women don't get caught up in trying to appear like they know what they're doing, so they're more meticulous in doing things the right way, I find. My only biggest concern with all that many women at the range is eventually it's going to attract bears.
That ain't right, but that's funny.
Hell, half the time they're more responsible users than their husbands or boyfriends, and they actually listen.
Well, they're much more open because they're women. Believe it or not, they're pretty good listeners because that's kind of how they do things. But and they don't have near as much ego as a guy does. That's the truth.
Exactly.
No, but they take more selfies while they're shooting.
It's like, oh, look at me, my pretty gun. Now, that's true, but you know what? God bless them. At least they're there at the range.
Speak for yourself on that one.
Yeah, I try to get all my wife's friends to go shooting. I joke around with her. I say, I'm married, so it's the only way I can really de-virginize anybody anymore.
My goal is to have a duck face photo of me with every gun I own at the range. So
very nice, very nice. Okay, so how like where's the status bar on that accomplishment?
About a third of the way.
Okay.
So the thing is, I pick the same guns shooting all the fucking time. I've literally got 6 handguns, and there's like 7 that I take every time.
Well, it sounds like what you need to do is get a calendar, and then make yourself say every time. I mean, how often do you go shooting every month?
I try to go once a week.
Okay. Well, then my suggestion is take the 3 guns or so that you have not shot for sure, and then put them on that calendar if you know you're going to go that week. That way.
That I know I'm not going to shoot. Like, I'm not taking my Smith & Wesson 500 shooting. I'm not taking because it's too expensive. I'm not my Colt Python simply because I don't want to wear it. Put any wear.
Right.
But so I end up finding myself shooting my Smith & Wesson 686, my Glock 229, my Sig P229, my Glock 19, my Beretta PX4 Storm, and lately I've been shooting my CZ75B a lot. But I end up shooting those guns again and again and again and again. And my
well, I mean, what part is kind of like you have your, then you have your you're just for fun guns. I mean, where would you say what percentage is that for each?
What do you mean?
Say? Well, like how many are like collection? Like you have your Smith & Wesson 500 and your Python, and then the rest are your everyday your everyday carry guns, and then you have your just for fun guns. I'm guessing.
I would say I've got the entire lineup of Smith and of Sig pretty much except for a P210. I've got every P series model except for the P210. Those aren't like collection, but it is kind of a collection. But I don't shoot them a lot because I shoot the P229 more than anything else.
Right.
But as far as shooting goes, I shoot guns more often at the range than I think I might carry or shoot some other time or use for some purpose. So it's more those guns that get shot at the range than any other.
Now, is it just because you enjoy shooting those guns more?
I don't know if it comes down to enjoyment or if it comes down to practicality. Now, of course, I enjoy shooting like the 686. One gun I do shoot a lot that isn't practical is I shoot my Walther PPK a lot.
I mean,
I think it's a fun gun to shoot. I mean, it's no recoil. It's super accurate. You know, it's expensive to shoot because it's 380, but it's a fun gun to shoot. But I shoot more 9mm and 38 simply because it's less expensive. Back when ammo was cheaper, I could shoot 44 mag, 45 Colt, things like that more often. 357 Sig more often. Now my 357 Sig and my 357 Magnum are restricted to every time I go to the range, I put at least a dozen rounds through my carry gun, which is usually a 357 Magnum or a 357 Sig, and that's pretty much all I shoot in those calibers now. Everything else 9mm or 38.
Right. Well, I mean, I can understand the economic side of it, just because, I mean, it's you only have so much finite income. It's not like you're going to hit the fucking lottery and magically, oh, we can do whatever we want. But, I mean, it's kind of like if you're going to shoot those other guns, you have to set aside a budget to shoot those guns, it sounds like.
And I got into shooting my Pepper 12 there for about a month. Where I took it every time I went to the range, and I'm like, I'm going to put a couple boxes through the Vepr 12, and boom, 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 boom. But then, I'm nearly 50 years old, and I mean, I only got a couple more years till I hit 5.0. So I got tired of the next day, like my fucking shoulder is so goddamn sore.
Right. You get the old man shoulder. Yeah, I got you. You get the old man bruise.
Just from shooting 2 boxes of 12 gauge. Yeah. So.
Well, I mean, it's definitely shotguns are. They're nice to have, but they're not exactly. You want to shoot those all the time.
And I enjoy shooting my AK. Now that I have one. Before I ever had one, I never missed it, but now I actually do enjoy shooting it.
Well, I mean, the ammo's cheap enough, definitely.
But the one thing about the AK is you got to go over to the rifle range, and the rifle range is so loud and so smelly and so smoky because people are using cheap ammo, and it's just a pain in the ass to go over there and shoot. That's why I want to be able to get back up to BLM lands a lot more and shoot up there.
And like the people who are shooting to the right of you, you can always pull out your AK and shower them at the field.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, when I wanted to get rid of those people, I would always pull out my AK pistol and they would leave because it was so fucking loud, or my AR pistol because they would leave so damn loud.
Yeah. And it shoots this stuff straight up in the air. It shoots it a mile towards people duck for cover out there on the right of you. They're shooting the AK and start spitting out steel.
Hey, Yankee. Do you ever shot an AK without the thumb stock or the thumb hole stock on there?
Oh yeah, I've shot them. When I didn't own one, it was always just like, okay, I shot somebody's AK, big deal, But now that I own one, I'm like, okay, I see why people like him. Yep.
Because I mean, I have an NPAP, and that thing doesn't kick that much, but it's a little too much for my son. And I've heard that the thumb hole stocks, it's a little bit easier on the shoulder.
Oh, it's a lot easier.
Is that true, or?
It's a lot easier. I mean, it's a lot more comfortable. That's why a lot of old people like thumb hole stocks. They take a little bit of the pressure away because you got a lot more pressure going into your hand and your forearm than you do.
Yeah, it totally spreads out the recoil, where it's just not so directly into your shoulder.
So, yeah,
I had a thought on that. Thank you.
Yeah, my experience with thumb hole stocks is positive all the way around, especially for old people.
I mean, as long as you're not trying to do tactical stuff or anything like that, because it's mostly a comfort thing or a more of a
you're not going to
precision shooting.
You're not going to want to run around with a chest sling and trying to return it to position in a chest sling or something because you're going to catch your thumbs in the stock and not have a good time of it. Probably end up shooting yourself in the foot. But if you're just out shooting at the range, I mean, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, he's 11 years old and it's just going to be all bench rusted, so.
It turns it into a hunting rifle, as far as I'm concerned. It takes a battle rifle and turns it into a battle/hunting rifle.
Well, I mean, definitely the reason for the initial reason for the thumb hole stock is for precision shooting, because it gives you much more point of contact to hold on to.
And I don't like. I mean, I've shot some AKs that had some pretty crappy grips on them too. I've shot them before where the grip was just, the bottom of the plate of the gun cuts into the top of your hand because the grip is crappy. So, I mean, I've shot some pretty crappy grips on AKs, and that was one of the things that turned me off on them.
I think the best grip I've ever... Go ahead.
To be honest with you guys, DeVore has it all over anything else as far as points of contact goes. The only downside of it is that if you do it like it was designed and you shoot it Israeli style, it's like you feel like a pretzel. And so it's almost like you have to be a young Israeli soldier to wrap around it the way it was intended to be used. It's like 6 points of contact or whatever it is. and I just wind up not shooting it like that a lot, but then again, my life doesn't depend on,
They all need to come with a young Israeli soldier to teach us how to shoot them.
They have hot chicks. They have hot chicks with divorce, man.
Yeah, I'll take the hot chick over the young guy any day.
I'll tell you something I found talking about AKs.
Educational military.
That's right.
I was just in Academy. Was it Yeah, I think it was Academy Sports. And they did not have a single bit of Tula or Wolf or any kind of AK ammo, which I thought was odd. Not even
That's
mono,
surprising.
Usually
the academy near me has it overpriced about $1.50. Versus if you go to Cabela's, they're pretty much the cheapest. Like if you go,
I was shocked that they didn't have anything, in the range ammo. But what they did have, I'd never seen before. Didn't even know they made it. They had a Hornady, a Federal, and some other big name, but not anyway, I can't think of it. But actual brass case, ballistic tip or polymer tip ammo for the AK. It was like $26. Yeah, that may have
brass
been.
Winchester before.
Yeah, it was like $26 for a box of 20 like hunting rounds for the AK. I had never knew they even made. I didn't even think that was like.
Well, there are a lot of
feasible.
guys who take their AKs and they'll go hog hunting, and that's kind of what they use for it.
Yeah, I was just shocked. I feel like I'm gonna buy a box just so I can have a pretty box of AK ammo, because it was so neat. Like I just took it out and looked at it. I was like, because I've never seen brass AK ammo before, so it was just.
Well, they get bullets to sell, so they got to put them in something. That's 30 caliber.
I was I felt like I don't know, like I'd seen a breast for the first time in my life. I took it out of the box and like sun was shining through the skylight.
I don't know if it's that amazing.
Singing. Yeah, it was,
I don't know.
Holy crap, man! This is like the prettiest 7.62 by 39 I've ever seen.
I would say Mikhail would not be impressed.
Yeah, there's a lot of ranges out here that they don't allow you to shoot aluminum, no matter if it's an AK or not. So you got to use that shit.
Yeah, because they don't want to. They don't have to sort it out of the brass later when they resell it.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Assholes. Oh well.
The ranges that won't let you shoot aluminum are usually also the ones that won't let you reclaim your brass.
Yep.
Yeah, that's big business.
They don't really mind on that. There's a few of them that do, but for the most part, it's basically a no aluminum all the way around here.
Well, you can shoot steel because they got a magnet that'll go through and pick up the steel with no problem, but the aluminum won't. It's non-magnetic, so it won't.
Cookie puss.
See, I don't turn my phone off.
At least your phone is humorous, though. You don't have like Macarena or any of that kind of stupid shit on there. And that's not a challenge either, Yankee.
So have you guys, any of you ever fired some good quality 7.62 by 39 ammo?
Sure.
Yeah.
I've shot Hornady. That's pretty good.
I mean, does it make a difference in accuracy?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's a better quality. I mean, it's a.
Well, your velocity is increased because you have the case actually expanding out for a better seal.
Exactly. And I imagine they spend much more, degree of detail on the components and loading and all this other stuff compared to, Tula, where they're just throwing shit in the casing, and as long as it's good enough and it's not, they'll just throw it in the box and give it up,
Right. Well, I guess the reason I ask is because some people blame the rifle, like, oh, it's just an AK, it's not accurate, that's an AK. But
no.
Could you?
If you have a really crappy. Yeah, if you have a crappy AK, I can see that. Like, if you go in and go buy, some Century Arms imported crap that, it's just
I got a great Century Arms washer, man. I mean, it was really funny. The first time I took it out, I really hadn't been shooting in years, and I just took it out, and there's this, the FFL with a AR and a scope, and he can't hit anything with iron sight. So I just took it out, in 100 yards, and he said, "Oh, let's see if you can hit that," and he snickered. So yeah, I hit it like twice in a row. It's like, oh my God, he was just almost fell down dead. And it's
Right.
like, what was so hard about it? I mean, if you're used to using iron sight,
Well, then you must
it's
have
fun
had
to
the
it.
130 build that they
Well,
actually line shit up somewhat near spec.
well,
Well,
they,
that's the thing. I think people blame the gun a lot of times, and I contend that a good quality ammo will make a big difference in a firearm.
I was using Tula.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
if you do your part in AK versus AR, 150, 200 yards they're very comparable together. It's just once
Right.
you get out past 200.
Oh, the other thing is also bullet design. You have a bullet that's unbalanced and misshaped. Yeah, it ain't gonna do too hot.
Dun dun dun. Yankee returns. But no, I think because I've talked to Jim Fuller about this over at Rifle Dynamics, and he said it helps. I mean, your quality of build definitely helps with the accuracy. Like, I mean, if you get a high quality build AK, I mean, you're gonna shoot shot for shot for an AR. It's just that long as it's within the spec and it's not. You don't have to spend too much effort into getting it, but as long as it's within where it needs to be, you'll shoot comparably with an AR, no problem. Now, if you get say something like a bit more like a match grade barrel, you don't see too many of those in an AK, okay? So it's not going to be as much as like an AR where you can build at precision. You get your sub minute of angle and all this other crap, But it'll
For
do
me,
the
it
job
was
if you need to.
for me. It was when I was a kid. I must have shot 20, 30,000 rounds of BB guns on a Daisy Red Ryder. So it's like switching to AK. It's the same thing, pretty much. And
Right.
iron
Well,
sight.
I mean, it definitely helps having good practice. There's nothing that takes the away from being having good skills and having practice. There's nothing that takes away from that. So, but yeah, I mean, you can have a great rifle, but if you don't know what the fuck you're doing, it doesn't matter. So, but yeah. Oh, but Stone, I would recommend you get the Hornady zombie ammo. That's pretty good stuff.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to buy a box just because. For one, I didn't even know they made brass AK ammo.
Well, there's God, I forget the name of the company. I think it's called ZQ One. It's at
ZQ1.
Wally World. ZQ1, yeah. And I think they are big into the brass AK ammo. Now, they also do they do pretty much the whole spectrum, but they especially have that. They're kind of cornering the market on where it's good quality, but it's not super high grade stuff, but it's within more budget, but you'll get a decent quality for the price,
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. I've seen that ZQ, and the cool thing about that, I want to say it's them. I know Federal just started doing it, but doing 30 round. I know Federal's doing the 30 rounds on stripper clips.
Yeah, they're
And
doing.
I want to say the
forget
ZQ does a 30 round box as well, which makes total sense because the AR and the AK mags are both 30 round. The
Right.
primary mags are 30 round magazines, so it
Well,
always.
that's being done because ZQ1 is actually coming out of Canik and the Turkish
Okay.
defense.
Well, yeah, that just made so much more sense because shit, I always hated, if you have to break open two 20 round boxes and then you have 10 rounds left over, and it just, I just didn't understand why some ammo company hadn't,
Probably because they can get more money per box than doing the 30.
You think if they packaged it for a 30, they know it's AR or AK ammo. If you package it for a 30 and market it for that particular rifle platform, you have to have 30 rounds to fill your mag. So,
I mean, that's cost over marketing over common sense kind of thing. So it's just whatever works for them. I think is They're going to say, what makes us the most money? What will people buy? That's pretty much what they're thinking.
Yeah. But anyway, for those of you interested, the Federal's putting out that 30-round box, and it's good quality ammo. I've been.
It
running
comes in the
for
red
quite a
box,
while.
if I remember right.
Yeah, a red box. Yep, and so anyway, pretty cool.
And Cabela's, I've seen, they do some sales on those occasionally, and it's good quality stuff. I mean, it's mil spec stuff. So that's I think they do it in like a 62 and a 55, depending on if. Well, no, it's a 55 grain, but it's in a 5.56 chambering. So
I just picked up some 40 grain Hornady VMAX for a coyote shoot that I hope I'm going to get to go on.
That'll get the job done.
And it's 40 grain polymer, the polymer tip VMAX.
Right.
Advertised velocity is 3,900 feet per second.
Yeah, that's from a 24-inch barrel, though.
Yeah, I gotta figure that.
Is it really? Is that what they based all that on? Was the 24?
Every time you look at a box and it has an advertised velocity, it's pretty much a 24-inch barrel, almost guaranteed.
No shit, that sucks.
Yeah, they're going off those varmint guns that they
The
build.
exception to the rule is 5.56, and then they're basing it off of a 20-inch barrel.
Yeah, because you get a complete burn on a 20-inch, right?
Well, you get what's called an optimum burn, which anything less than you're passing unburnt powder in excessive amounts.
Which I've never understood the point of optimum burns. That reduces your big old fireball. That takes away half the fun of shooting.
Well, sometimes shooting is supposed to be effective. It's not supposed to be fun, sir.
Or whatever shit,
wasn't fun, I wouldn't even do it.
Well, hell, guys, I gotta get to bed. I appreciate everybody coming out and on the panel, everybody watching. But,
that would be a good question some night to ask people which one of their guns makes the biggest fireball.
Yeah, I already know. I'll hold it for next time.
Well, we already know your Desert Eagle wins that.
I don't know. I think my 460 snub nose makes a bigger fireball than the Desert Eagle.
Is the Desert Eagle the only one that makes that ring? I've never seen any other firearm make that circle.
Throws a flame ring 10 feet.
The top 357s make that ring pretty consistently.
My PTR PDW in 308 does a pretty good fireball.
I've got a 16-inch barrel and a 308 AK. That shit will will make people in the next lane shit themselves. It's beautiful. Especially with the cheap Soviet ammo, it's quite good.
Well, yeah, that is a topic for a good chat. Or
Yes,
a good topic for a chat. See, I'm tired. I can't even speak. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to shut it off here. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Good night, everybody.
Thank